Welcome to the Scale with Speed show, where every week, I'm bringing you amazing guests that are doing things big out in the marketplace, guests that are pushing themselves and the folks that they're coaching to the next level. And today is no different. I have my new friend, Kelly Roach. Hi, Kelly.
Hey, guys.
Thank you so much for being on the show. I'm going to do a quick intro. A lot to cover in this intro. Kelly has done a lot. So Kelly is, I'm going to read this for you. Kelly is a highly sought after business growth strategist on a mission to help 1 million entrepreneurs launch, monetize, and scale their dream businesses. I love that. 1 million. That's amazing. What a goal.
Yeah.
Without compromising their quality of life or going broke in the process, which those are two so important things. She is the host of a top-rated podcast, Unstoppable Success Radio, and an international best-selling author. And we're going to talk about her new book today, which I'm sure will be another bestseller. Before launching her own international consulting firm, Kelly was a Fortune 500 executive where she was promoted 7 times in 8 years. Kelly's expertise in working in organizations lies in helping drive innovation, leadership development, sales strategy, and profitable growth. And she has been featured in Inc., Forbes, Bloomberg, Business Week, Entrepreneur on Fire, ABC, Good Day, NBC, CW, and many more. So welcome, Kelly. Very excited to have
you. Thank you. Thank you for the intro, and I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, and awesome. We're going to talk about your new book, Bigger Than You, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so before we do that, I did give the quick intro, but you want to spend just 3 minutes on kind of acclimating the audience to who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I'm a wife and mom. So I have a 4.5-year-old daughter, and she's my life. And obviously, I'm in love with my husband, Billy, as well. So I'm a real human. That's my first mission. But secondarily, my passion, my passion in life is helping people to achieve financial freedom. And along the way, as I built and grew my career, I recognized that the best way to help people achieve financial freedom was to help them learn the skills needed to do effective sales, marketing, and team building so that they could get on that path to entrepreneurial freedom and actually have the ability to do that. Because I think a lot of people want financial freedom, but they never really bring together, right?
Sure.
The two sides of the coin needed in their life to do that. So I dedicated my life to helping to teach the entrepreneurial community the skills that they needed to actually succeed as entrepreneurs, because of the millions of businesses that start out there every single day. Still over 90% of them end up failing. And a lot of them, it's because of cash flow, infrastructure, not having the right team, and business owner burnout. So I'm on a mission to help tackle those things and help people to tackle those things so they can get to their goals.
I love that. And I think everything you just said is completely in line and true. And philosophically, we're on the same page. And I think that's what the new book's about, right? So Bigger Than You, let's talk about that concept, because I think everything that's, in that book is really relevant to the people listening.
Yeah, for sure. So Bigger Than You is a movement to end entrepreneurial burnout. And it is a book comprised of everything that I've learned over the last 15 years in my corporate life. Even before I started my own business, I was managing a team of 100 people. I had 17 branches. So I was managing large scale teams. And then when I started my business, I started from day one building my own team. And I very quickly realized that, business owners get capped at a very low, almost entry level salary if they try to do this thing on their own, right? And so the only way to truly maximize your life and your business as an entrepreneur is if you surround yourself with the right people, learn how to coach, teach, train, and manage them, and understand how to be the kind of leader that's going to get people to invest all of themselves in helping you to move forward the business's mission.
Yes, that's awesome. So talk about team. You said team. So for, I talk a lot about, companies I work with are companies, right? They have multiple folks, and there's this full movement of kind of like solopreneur and entrepreneur. But I believe, and this is my preference, you're not a real company until you have people. Do you? So,
Yeah,
so
I agree. I mean, that's the whole concept. Bigger than you is, if you're the business, all you have is a job that you own,
right.
right? So you need something that is bigger than you if you want to make an impact on the world, if you want to build something sustainable, if you want to create something that you're not going to want to escape from. And so I agree with that philosophy. And we all start small. I always tell the story. I think it was back in 2013 or 2014, I started off with a VA for an hour a week, right? And then from there, I went to a part time contractor and then a full time contractor. And then I hired my first internal employee, and then my second and my third and my fourth. And, the dominoes went from there. You start from where you are with what you've got, but you got to have a plan and a vision. And that
Amen.
plan and vision has to incorporate others besides yourself.
Yeah, I talk a lot about it, and I just wrote a book called Scale with Speed, and it's taking your
Yeah.
business to the next level fast.
Yeah.
But what I tell people all the time is, listen, if you're not a business, even if you're pulling $1 million, $500,000, $2 million of personal income, and tomorrow you get hit by a bus,
Yep.
it's done. So the core philosophy of having an end game and building a sustainable business that has predictability, has recurring revenue, and you have the ability, not that you're going to, but at some point you can sell that asset for a lot of money without you
Hmm.
having to be there. That's a business. And I think
Yes.
in this new mindset, there's so many people out there crushing it, and I applaud them. Whether it's standing up a Shopify website, it's doing something in a solopreneur fashion, but they need to be thinking about that end game and how are you providing and creating enterprise value to someday have a major financial event that's not reliant on you.
Exactly, exactly. And I think there's been a lot that has done disservice to people that are entering the entrepreneurial world today. And I think there's a lot of things that didn't carry over from the corporate world. I think the corporate world gets a really bad name, but
Mhm.
there's some good principle there,
Sure.
right? And some of those good principles are sales and their marketing. And a lot of entrepreneurs avoid sales, and they avoid building a team, and they avoid stepping into the spotlight the way that they need to. And also exactly what you're talking about here, having a sellable entity that you are not the business. And it goes back again to the concept bigger than you, right? there's
Yeah.
there's assets and there's value there beyond just who you are and how you operate in the business.
Yeah, totally. And I think if you get into the mindset, I think a lot of entrepreneurs fall short in this. They don't think about the end game. Like,
Right.
what do you want? I mean, most people will think, I want to be a multimillionaire and I want $50 million. Are you creating a business and a vehicle that's going to yield you 50 million? Because even if you're
Hmm.
$1 million a year, you got to pay taxes and everything. I mean, net you're pulling, six, 700,000,
Yeah.
great living, but you're not going to get to 50 million,
Yeah. Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
and so, what I love about this, the whole title of the book, Bigger Than You, it's just framing up that concept. It's like, listen, you've got to put so much more in. And now in the book, Kelly, do you talk about, because I believe there's a scale, there's a learning curve. It's kind of a bell curve, right? When you're growing a business, you're investing in it, you're sacrificing,
Yes.
you're not probably taking a salary, you're taking care of your people, but you're doing it because it's bigger than you, and at some
Mhm.
point it's going to pay off. Do you talk about that concept in your book?
Yeah, I do. And I actually talk about that concept a lot because I think there are far too many new and emerging entrepreneurs in low six figures or even under the six-figure mark that are worried about how much they're pulling out of the business
Hmm.
instead of how much they're putting in the business.
Amen.
And
Yeah.
you are never going to scale, and you are never going to build something that's bigger than you that can operate without you if you're worried about, am I going to get my extra $1,000 out of the business this month
Right.
versus can I invest another 5,000 this month in advertising? Can I invest another 5,000 in coaching and training? Can I invest another 5,000 in infrastructure so that you can push it up to the next level? Because I think what people don't realize is, if you're focused on scraping and pulling every dollar out of the business that you possibly can, you'll never invest enough in the business to even get the revenue billing at the level that
Yeah.
you want to hit your income goal. Like, you're taking yourself out of the game the second that you're worried about pulling every dollar out instead of how much more can I put in. I'm not saying be ridiculous, but I'm saying strategically
Yeah.
that's a huge mindset thing, right?
Yeah, it's great. I was coaching somebody the other day, and they were talking about, well, this year I want to take in distributions, a million, whatever. And I had the mindset of saying, listen, are you playing a short-term game or a long-term game, right? Why don't
Mm-hmm.
you take, 30% less than you were going to take? Let's reallocate that and invest that in innovation or sales, right? In order, so in 3 years, you're taking a
Yes.
distribution of 3 or 4 million versus,
Yes.
playing small. But I think that's a mindset, right? I mean, it's
Yes.
it's something that has to be taught, or you have to experience it through failure.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. And I think it's important. We all have to hear that and think that and go through cycles of that over and over again, because I think it's very easy to get in like scarcity mindset of, pulling back. If you have a rough season, I see people immediately, they had a bad month, immediately they want to pull back. And I'm like, good God, that's the worst thing that you can do. I'm like, you need
Right.
to double down on your advertising. You
Yeah.
need to hire that coach. You need to go put more money in. Like, when you have a bad season, you need to invest more, not less. And I think,
Right.
obviously fear is a natural thing. It's there to protect you, but you have to push through that and not make, it's exactly what you said, these short-term decisions that actually cut off your success.
Yeah, and I talk a lot about commitment. You gotta burn the freaking ships, right? If you're gonna do
Mhm.
this, you got to be committed. Now, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I since I was young, I was selling pencils to watches to beepers to just to knives to whatever. I've never had a boss. I started my first company
Yeah.
in college, so I am in my blood through and through an entrepreneur. But I can empathize or somewhat understand if you went into the corporate world, you started making a steady paycheck, making good money, and then you step out of that and you start something, it's harder to commit, right?
Hmm.
Because you're at a point where, if it is a bad month or you're scared, you're like, well, you know what, I'm going to go back to that comfort zone, which is that job, and you'll never tip to that next point, right? So
Hmm.
commitment
Hmm.
is such a big part of this, isn't it?
It is. It's such a big part of this. And long-term vision,
Mhm.
having a vision and a plan for your life. I was talking to someone the other day and I was saying, if you have an extra $10,000, this month, right? You have a choice between putting it in a savings account and getting zero interest, right? You can put it back into your business and count on yourself and get a 50, 100, a 500% return. You can put it in the stock
Right.
market, depending on the month. Maybe you get a 5%, 8%, 12%, whatever. But you look at the different ways that you can invest that money. And to me, and I had this conversation with my husband the other day because I have a second business that I'm in early stage with a partner. And we've invested, God, $50,000, $60,000 already this year each. And I said, I can get a better return on investment investing in myself than I
Right.
can putting it in the bank or the stock market or real estate.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I know how to grow a business, right? But you
Yeah.
have to have that long term vision of, this is a decision I'm making today that is for my family 5, 10, 15 years from now. This isn't a decision I'm making today for tomorrow,
Yeah.
right?
It's not a short game, it's a long game, right? I mean, I think in
Yes.
this concept bigger than you, to me, screams long game, right? So I think this mindset of quick money and entrepreneurial and success overnight, and
Yes.
that's a short game strategy, right?
Yes.
Trends are going to happen. I mean, you've got to build a sustainable business that can be recession proof, that has a long-term strategy, that is focused on creating value and predictability, that at some point, if you want, you can have some sort of financial liquidity event, I believe.
Exactly. I agree with that. I totally agree. And you know what? And here's what I would say to someone that's sitting here listening and saying, but I don't want to sell. I want to own the business. The best way to build a good business is to wake up every day and act like you're going to sell that business.
Hey,
Even
I
if you have
love that. Yeah.
no
Yeah.
intent. And I actually did a whole podcast on this. the best way to build a good business and make the right decisions is every day wake up and pretend like you're going to sell that business. If you want to hit that big, hairy,
Yeah.
ridiculous, audacious income goal,
Right.
pretend like you're going to sell the business, because you'll make the right kinds of decisions, right?
Yeah, yeah, this is a great concept, and I love how
Yeah.
you frame that up, because I talk to a lot of people, and they say, "Listen, I just want a lifestyle business. I'm going to do, this. I'm going to be, happy." I'm saying,
Yep.
"Listen, just build it to where you have the option.
Yes,
Just
exactly.
like, why not have the option? I mean, so, and here's the good news: if you're building it to sell, you're increasing your margin, you're growing scale, you can take large distributions, but
Yeah.
then you have freedom as having choices." And if you build it in a position where you could sell it, you have a choice. It's an option, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole thing is setting, making decisions in your life every day that give you options. You're
Mm,
backed into a corner, you make bad decisions. You have choices, you make good decisions. So
right.
that's it right there.
So for the folks listening right now, and they're, growing a business, they're thinking about starting a business, they're in a business, what when you meet with somebody, where's the place you say, "Hey, we need to invest in"? Is it, I know it's dependent upon the business, but is it a general, it's like, "Hey, listen, we got to put more effort in revenue generating activities. You need more marketing. We've got to fix culture. It has to be operations." Like, where do you usually start?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is totally dependent on the
It
business
varies.
and where their gaps are, but the trends, of course, are typically that there's not enough time spent by the business owner or the employees on profit producing activities. Almost always, I find that any new
Hmm.
organization that I start working with, whether it's a small business or a big business, there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on the table, easy money,
Right.
just because
Yeah.
people are spending their time on nonsense. So
Yep.
that's number one. Number two is systems. So much wasted time and energy when
Yeah.
you don't have things documented,
Hmm.
systematized, mapped out in an A to Z process that an entry level person can follow and implement for you. So, systems, number two. And then number three, learning how to build and grow a profit producing team. I find that the vast majority of small businesses that do have teams, they've built these armies of people that do tactical tasks for
Mm.
them.
Yeah.
They don't produce money, they don't
Yeah.
understand the financials, they're not concerned with whether or not the business is hitting its, obligations or its goals or its budget. And that's created by the business owner, not the employees. It's not the employee's responsibility to do that. It's the employer's responsibility to create a mindset and accountability and a structure for the role and set each employee up to bring in money for the firm, which is a lot of what I talk about in the book. Like, how do you do that? How do you get every employee to 4x so that
Yeah.
they're bringing in 4 times what they cost in profits each month in your business?
Yeah, you're totally right. I feel like we're almost kindred spirits. Like, it
Yes,
the
yes,
I
yes.
talk about a concept called the money sheet. And the money sheet is all day, every day. How are you spending 75% of your day, every day, on revenue generating activities?
Mhm.
What are the 6 to 8 things that day that are going to get you closer to your monthly target? Right. And if
Yeah,
it's not going to do that, you don't spend time there. I mean, it
exactly.
fascinates me how much time per day, whether it's the owner, the CEO, a worker bee, mid-level management, senior management, that we is wasted on non-revenue generating activities. And so I think,
Exactly.
that's exactly where I start. So that's refreshing
Yeah,
to see you say that.
yeah,
But I mean, it's and it's simple, right? You need to, what is the accountability? How do you get in rhythm? How do you take massive action? And how do you take massive focus on those activities and do them? And if you do them, you're going to get a
exactly.
result, right?
That's right. That's it. That absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. So what other really great nuggets can you share? Are you comfortable sharing that are in the book?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's that most people are of the mindset that you build a team once you are successful and running a very big, profitable business. What
Hmm.
people don't understand is the way that you get a successful, big, profitable business is
The
by
team,
building a winning team.
right?
So reverse those two things and you uncap your growth and you uncap your potential. So I would say that's a huge one for anybody listening. And it doesn't matter whether you have an existing team and maybe you stagnated or held back from hiring that next person because you don't want the pressure on yourself or on the existing team members to
Hmm.
perform at the next level. Or whether you're a new business owner that is like, where am I going to get the money from? How am I going to do it? You're going to need to go out and sell something, right?
Right.
And so I was talking to a client the other day, and she's like, well, if I do this next level thing, then I have to produce these extra $1,000, a couple $1,000s a month in sales. And I said, and that's exactly why you need to do it. Because
Amen.
if there's no positive pressure to have
Love
to
it.
perform, it's easy to stay exactly where you are, and that's exactly what will happen, right?
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, it's good pressure, right? By doing
It's
that, I
good
mean,
pressure.
several things come. You get a new sense of responsibility, right? I mean, I
Hmm.
I know when I'm managing, a company and you have several hundred employees, when you go to bed at night, or I say team members, when you go to bed at night, you have a fiduciary duty
Yes.
to do your best because it's somebody's, husband, wife, mother, brother,
Mhm.
sister, that you're helping take care of,
Yeah,
right? And they're taking care of you in the company, but you have a new level of responsibility, right? Which creates
exactly.
urgency, which creates pressure, right? Which creates momentum, which drives commerce. I mean, all these things are really good. And I think
Yeah.
it's like you said, it's a great pressure, right? And having team to me is so important because it creates chemistry. You're bigger than one now, and you start to create something that's really cool. And
Yeah.
one thing I love is culture,
Yes.
and you
Yes.
can't have a culture if it's just you, right? So
Exactly. Exactly.
it's
Yeah,
important. Do
for
you
sure.
talk about culture in the book?
I do. I do. And I'm a huge believer that, people say like being an entrepreneur is so lonely. It's only lonely if you don't surround yourself with other
Yeah.
amazing, brilliant people that want the same things you do. And that's a choice, right?
Mhm.
And so I think culture is a huge part of enjoying being a business owner and enjoying
Right.
the journey and loving what you do every day. It's working with other talented, exceptional people that you
Right.
handpick to be on this journey with you.
Yeah. And I think I want to hit on something you said is you have to love it. You have to have passion.
Mhm.
But I think people get confused because so many people, I say it, you got to love what you do. You got to be passionate. But with that, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. That
No.
doesn't mean that you're not going to have extremely tough days. Right. And
Mhm.
so I think a lot of times people take that and say, oh, well, that person was just lucky, or that's just how entrepreneurs, say things. They just say that, you know, but it is true. But the audience needs to know that part of that journey is pain, but you
Yeah.
can still go through the pain and love what you do. I mean, it's like, working out, right? I mean, when you're working out, sometimes it's painful, right? You don't want to get up at 5 a.m. and you don't want to go on that run, and it hurts. But when you get 30 minutes into it, you
Yeah.
start feeling it, and it's part of that
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah. Yeah. No, amen to that. And I think there's been a lot of fluffy frou-frou internet talk about, do what you love and, all of that.
Right.
And that's great. Yes. Yes. We all want to do what we love. And that's what this is all about. But you're absolutely right. There is a price to pay for getting to do what you love, and
Yeah.
that means there's going to be sacrifice and there's going to be tolerance and discipline and a lot of growth that you have to go through to get to that point of the pinnacle of what you're trying to create in your life and really
Right.
creating that thing that you're so proud of and so passionate about.
Right. So everybody always wants to know, like, successful, business people, what is your routine? Like, do you
Yeah.
pray? Do you meditate? Do you exercise? Do you do none of them? Do you go shoot guns on the weekend? Like, what do you do?
I pray, I meditate, I exercise, talk to myself a lot. Yeah, no, I mean, I work out with a trainer during my business day a couple days a week. So I have a personal trainer that's really important to me, and I intentionally build that into my work week because I think part of functioning as a high level CEO includes taking care of
Health,
yourself.
yeah.
Yeah. meditate in the morning and at night before bed, lots of water, lots of coffee,
Yeah.
personal development, learning, growth, the usual stuff, the usual stuff. And,
Right.
there's a reason why you hear those same things over and over again from successful people because they work, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And the other thing I tell people to do, and you mentioned this earlier, is bet on yourself and invest in yourself.
Hmm.
No matter what level you're at, there's always another level.
Yep.
And I talk a lot about the difference between advice and counsel. Okay,
Hmm.
so advice is something anybody can just offer and give you. Counsel
Hmm.
comes through an authority. And what I mean
Yes.
by that is when I'm coaching somebody and they'll say, well, this person told me to do this. And I said, well, are they at the level that you want to be at?
I say that all the time.
Have have
Yes.
they have they achieved or exceeded what you want out of your life? And if they haven't, that's just noise. So
Hmm.
it's so important to have a coach and a personal, development, but surround yourself with people. I don't care who's listening. If you want to be the best yoga trainer in the world, then go find the best current yoga trainer in the world, right? If you want
Exactly.
to, be the best salesperson, go find a salesperson, but you need to surround yourself with people that can elevate you and bring you up and teach you things to avoid that they've probably failed and
Yeah.
been,
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know,
Yeah. I think that is something that it's very important to learn because as you go to elevate and as you go to grow and become more, all of a sudden you're going to be getting all of these very strong opinions from many
right.
well-intended people.
Sure.
Um, and if you don't have a very definitive mindset around only accepting the advice of individuals that are where you want to be,
Right.
you can make a lot of mistakes and get yourself in a lot of trouble really quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Okay. Any other tips from Bigger Than You that you can give to the audience before we start to wrap up?
I would just say don't accept burnout as a way of life because it's
Mm,
not meant to be that way. And so, I said I'm on a mission to end entrepreneurial burnout. And so the book is about team, but really in disguise, it's about ending entrepreneurial burnout. So I would say don't accept that. You deserve better.
right.
And if you're experiencing that, that just means there's like some growth opportunity there. Stretch yourself in a new and different way,
Right.
and be open to understanding how you got there and what you can do to get out of it.
Yeah, and it's such a grind. So I mean, is there one tip? Because we talked about this before. So many entrepreneurs. I mean, and I believe this so strongly. th- I always talk about tipping points. They're so close to tipping to success, but they usually tip and they fail and they
Yeah.
give up because they're burned out, they're tired, they think they can't do it, they think that they can't invest anymore. So what, in the book, it sounds like you're addressing that. Like,
Yeah.
what's a way to start not being burned out?
Well, raise your prices.
Right.
Most people are, I mean, it is an epidemic amongst small business owners and entrepreneurs that they are undercharging. I
Mm,
mean, it's one of the very first things that I do with almost every new client. I am known for helping clients to raise their prices by 50% or more within
wow.
their first month of working with me. And so I would say a lot of times burnout is just charging too little for what you do that's causing you to serve too many people.
Yeah.
People have gotten in their heads this go big or go home concept, and bigger
Right.
is not necessarily better.
Yeah.
Right. So revenue does not equate to net, and
Yeah.
so being really
Totally.
clear on that is super important. That's a big step you can take. And then the other one is, you said it already, it's get outside counsel from the
Yeah.
right people, from the right
Right.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great. Well, I can't wait to get the book, and it's available now on Amazon, right?
It's available now on Amazon. You can get the soft cover on Amazon. You can get the hardcover on the website. And yeah, I'd love every listener to get their copy.
I need a signed copy. I want
We
a
will
signed
send you a signed copy.
All right, great. So where, Kelly, if somebody's interested in engaging you for, coaching or any of your services, what's the best way for everybody to find you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm online. I'm doing live streams. I'm on Instagram. I'm on, Facebook all the time. So I'm easy to track down. But I would say my tip for all the listeners is check out Unstoppable Success Radio, because we bring really powerful lessons in entrepreneurship every single week that will help you grow faster, run smarter, get to your goals faster.
Okay, is that Stitcher's, iTunes, your website? What's the best place to?
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's on
Yeah.
Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify. It's Yeah, it's on the website, kellyroachcoaching.com. Yeah.
Okay, great. Any last tip you want to share with anybody?
Just believe in yourself. Don't give up. Trust that you are here for a reason. Keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you will get there.
I love it. Well, thank you for being on. And as
Thanks so much
always,
for having me.
yeah, this is the Scale with Speed show. I'm your host, Judge Graham. You can find me at judgegraham.com, or most all my social handles are at Judge Graham, and we'll see you next week.